What is Great Enlightening Being's dedication equal to all Buddhas? Here the enlightening beings follow and cultivate the path of dedication of the Buddhas of the past, future, and present. When they practice and learn the path of dedication in this way, when they perceive any objects of sense, whether pleasant or unpleasant, they do not conceive like or dislike. Their minds are free, without faults, broad, pure, joyful, blissful, free from all sorrows and troubles. Their minds are flexible, their senses are pure and cool. When great enlightening beings gain such peace and bliss, they become even more determined, dedicating their determination to the Buddhas with these thoughts. With the roots of goodness I am now planting, I vow to cause the bliss of the Buddhas to increase more and more. That is, the bliss of the inconceivable abode of Buddhas, the bliss of the peerless concentration of Buddhas, the bliss of unlimited compassion, the bliss of liberation of all Buddhas, the bliss of vast, ultimate, immeasurable power, the bliss of tranquility detached from all cognition, the bliss of abiding in the state of non-obstruction always rightly concentrated, the bliss of carrying out the practice of non-dualism without change. Once the great enlightening beings have dedicated their roots of goodness to the Buddhas, they also dedicate these virtues to the enlightening beings. That is, to cause those who have not fulfilled their vows to fulfill them, to cause those whose minds are not yet pure to attain purity, to cause those who have not fulfilled the ways of transcendence to fulfill them, to settle them in the indestructible will for enlightenment, that they not regress on the way to omniscience, not give up great effort, preserve all the foundations of goodness of the gates of enlightenment, and be able to cause sentient beings to give up conceit, set their minds on enlightenment, fulfill their aspirations, abide in the abode of all enlightening beings, attain the clear, sharp senses of enlightening beings, cultivate roots of goodness, and realize omniscience. Having thus dedicated their roots of goodness to enlightening beings, the great enlightening beings then dedicate them to all sentient beings, wishing that the roots of goodness of all sentient beings, even the slightest, even seeing a Buddha, hearing teaching, or respecting holy mendicants for but the time of a finger snap, all be free from obstruction, that they reflect on the completeness of Buddhas, on the techniques of the teaching, and on the nobility and importance of the community, that they not be separated from vision of the Buddha, that their minds become pure, that they attain the qualities of Buddhahood, build up immeasurable virtue, purify spiritual powers, give up doubts about the truth, and live according to the teaching. As they make such dedication to sentient beings, they also make such dedication for the Buddhist disciples and the individual illuminates. Also they pray that all sentient beings forever leave all miserable places like hells, ghosthood, and animality, the netherworld, and so on, that they further develop the supreme will for enlightenment, concentrate their minds on the earnest search for knowledge of all means of liberation, never repudiate the true teaching of the Buddhas, attain the peace of the Buddhas, be pure in body and mind, and realize omniscience. The foundations of goodness of great enlightening beings are all correctly initiated, built up, and developed by great vows, causing them all to expand and to be completely fulfilled. When great enlightening beings live at home with spouses and children, they never for a moment give up the determination for enlightenment. With correct mindfulness, they meditate on the realm of all knowledge, liberating themselves and others, enabling them to reach the ultimate. Using appropriate means, they transform the members of their own households, causing them to enter the knowledge of enlightening beings and causing them to develop to maturity and attain liberation. Though they live together, their minds have no attachments. By their basic great compassion, they remain in home life, and because of their kindness, they harmonize with their spouses and children with no hindrance to the pure way of enlightening beings. Though great enlightening beings be in home life and work at various occupations, they never for a moment give up the will for omniscience. That is, whether they are dressing, eating, taking medicine, washing, looking around, walking, standing still, sitting, reclining, speaking, thinking, asleep or awake. Whatever they are doing, their minds always dedicated to the path of omniscience. They concentrate and contemplate unremittingly because they want to aid all sentient beings and settle them in enlightenment. With immeasurable great vows, they embody countless great roots of goodness, diligently cultivating virtues to save everyone. They forever divorce arrogance and indulgence and proceed surely toward the state of omniscience, never conceiving any intention of turning to another path. Always contemplating the enlightenment of all Buddhas, they forever abandon all impure ways. Cultivating practice of what all enlightening beings learn, they encounter no obstruction on the path of omniscience and stand on the ground of knowledge. They are devoted to recitation and learning, and collect roots of goodness by means of immeasurable knowledge. Their minds have no affection for any mundane realm, nor are they obsessed with what they practice. They wholeheartedly accept and hold the principles of the Buddha's teachings. Thus, enlightening beings living at home cultivate and internalize roots of goodness in every way, cause them to grow, and dedicate them to the unsurpassed enlightenment, which is the essence of the Buddhas. At such a time, enlightening beings, even when they are feeding domestic animals, all make this vow: I should cause these creatures to leave the realm of animality, to be helped and comforted and ultimately be liberated, having forever crossed over the ocean of suffering, eternally annihilating painful sensations, forever removing suffering physical and mental elements, eternally cutting off painful feeling, accumulation of pain, painful actions, the causes of pain, the root of suffering and painful situations. May these sentient beings all be able to leave these behind. Thus do enlightening beings focus their thoughts on all sentient beings. With their roots of goodness in the forefront, they dedicate them to knowledge of ways of liberation for all beings. When enlightening beings first engender the determination for enlightenment, they include all sentient beings, cultivating the foundations of goodness and dedicating them to cause all sentient beings to leave the plane of birth and death forever, to attain the unhindered bliss of the enlightened, emerge from the ocean of afflictions, practice the path of the Buddha teachings, to fill everywhere with kindness, to have vast powers of compassion, cause all to attain pure bliss, preserve foundations of goodness, draw near to the qualities of Buddhahood, leave the realms of demons and enter the realm of Buddhas, to cut off the seeds of mundanity and plant the seeds of enlightenment, to abide in the truth which is equal in all times. Enlightening beings dedicate all the roots of goodness they have collected, will collect, and are collecting in this way, and form this thought: as the Buddhas and enlightening beings of the past have practiced, respectfully serving all enlightened ones, liberating sentient beings so that they be forever emancipated, diligently cultivating and practicing all roots of goodness and dedicating them all without attachment, without depending on form, without attachment to sensation, without erroneous conceptions, without creating fixed patterns, without grasping consciousness, detached from the senses, not dwelling on things of the world, delighting in transcendence, knowing that all things are empty as space, come from nowhere, are unborn and not perishing, and have no true reality. Having no attachments, they avoided all discriminatory views, were imperturbable and unaffected by anything, never lost awareness or calm, abiding in reality without form, detached from all appearances, all being one. Thus they entered deeply into the nature of all things, always happily practiced all-sided virtues, and saw the congregation of all Buddhas. Just as all those enlightened ones of the past dedicated roots of goodness in this way, I too should practice dedication in this way, understand these principles, actualize these principles, and, based on these principles, determine to learn and act, not violating the specifics of the teachings, knowing that what is practiced is like illusions, like shadows, like the moon's image in the water, like reflections in a mirror, manifested by the combination of causes and conditions, proceeding thus up to the ultimate stage of enlightenment. Great enlightening beings also form this thought. Just as the Buddhas of the past, when cultivating enlightening practice, dedicated roots of goodness in this way, and so do and will the Buddhas of the present and future, so too should I arouse my will and dedicate roots of goodness like those Buddhas, with foremost dedication, excellent dedication, supreme dedication, superior dedication, unexcelled dedication, peerless dedication, unequaled dedication, incomparable dedication, honorable dedication, sublime dedication, impartial dedication, straightforward dedication, virtuous dedication, far-reaching dedication, good dedication, pure dedication, dedication free from evil, dedication not going wrong. Once enlightening beings have dedicated roots of goodness in this way, they accomplish pure action of body, speech, and mind, and abide in the abode of enlightening beings without any faults. Practicing good works, they get rid of evils of action and speech. Their minds are without flaw or defilement. They cultivate omniscience, abide in an immeasurably broad mind, and know all phenomena create nothing. They abide in transmundane states and are not influenced by things of the world. They analyze and comprehend innumerable actions and fully develop skill and means of dedication, extirpating the root of grasping and attachment forever. This is the great enlightening being's third dedication, dedication equal to all Buddhas. When great enlightening beings abide in this dedication, they enter deeply into the acts of all the enlightened ones, proceed toward the supremely wonderful qualities of the enlightened, enter into the profound realm of pure knowledge, do not depart from the works of enlightening beings, are able to distinguish skillful, subtle means of liberation, enter the profound realm of truth, know well the process of practice of enlightening beings, enter the family of the Buddhas, and with skill and means analyze and comprehend all things. Though they appear physically born in the world, yet their minds have no attachments to things of the world. Then the enlightening being Diamond Banner, spiritually empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, "Those great enlightening beings practice the ways of dedication of past Buddhas, and also cultivate the practices of all the guides of future and present. They attain peace and ease in all realms, praised by all the enlightened ones. Their expansive light and pure eyes, they dedicate all to the great brilliant sages. Blissful are the bodies of enlightening beings, and so are all their senses. Such immeasurable, supremely wonderful bliss they all dedicate to the Supreme. All the good ways in the world, and those the Buddhas have accomplished, all they foster excepting none, whereby they joyfully benefit the living. Their joys in the world are infinite. These they dedicate to sentient beings, vowing to cause them all to be filled with the bliss of the human lion. The various raptures known and perceived by the Buddhas of all lands they vow to foster in sentient beings, and become great lamps lighting the world. The supremely refined pleasure of enlightening beings they dedicate to all sentient beings. Though they are dedicated to the benefit of the living, yet they have no attachment to dedication. Enlightening beings practicing this dedication produce a mind of infinite compassion. The virtues of dedication practiced by the Buddhas they vow to cultivate and fulfill the same way. The subtle bliss of the vehicle of omniscience, such as attained by the Supreme, as well as the infinite bliss of enlightening practice carried out while they're in the world, the bliss of peace while appearing to be in the world, the bliss of tranquility, always guarding the senses, all they dedicate to sentient beings to cause all to develop unexcelled knowledge. Their work is not physical, verbal, or mental, yet doesn't exist apart from this. They just destroy ignorance by expedient means and thus develop supreme knowledge. The deeds practiced by enlightening beings build up immeasurable excellent virtues. Following the enlightened, born in the family of Buddhas, dispassionate and calm, they dedicate aright. They take care of all beings there are in all worlds of the 10 directions, dedicating all roots of goodness to them, vowing to fill them with the bliss of peace. They do not seek benefit for themselves. They want to cause all to be at ease. They have never entertained arbitrary conceptions. They only observe all things to be empty and selfless. To all the true children of Buddhas seen by the innumerable supreme ones in the 10 directions, they dedicate all roots of goodness, vowing to hasten their ultimate enlightenment. The conscious creatures in all worlds they embrace impartially, without exception. With the good works they do themselves, they cause those beings to soon become Buddhas. The countless, boundless great vows expounded by the unexcelled guides vow that all Buddha children become pure and fulfill all their aspirations. Observing all worlds in the 10 directions, donating all their virtues to them, they vow to cause them all to be wonderfully adorned. Thus do enlightening beings practice dedication. Their minds do not weigh dualistic things. They only constantly realize the non-duality of things. In all things, whether dual or non-dual, they ultimately have no attachments. All the worlds in the 10 directions are sentient beings' conceptualizations. Not apprehending anything in conception or non-conception, thus are conceptions understood. The enlightening beings' bodies are purified, so their minds are pure without blemish. Their speech being already pure and faultless, know that their minds are pure, without attachment. Single-mindedly they think of the past Buddhas and also of the guides of the future, as well as the honored ones of the present. They study the teachings they all expound. All enlightened ones of past, present, and future have clear, penetrating knowledge, their minds unobstructed. Because they want to help sentient beings, they dedicate myriad works to enlightenment. Those of foremost wisdom, vast wisdom, wisdom free from falsehood, without delusion, impartial, true wisdom, pure wisdom, and supreme wisdom, explain this way. What is the great enlightening being's dedication reaching all places? Here, when the enlightening beings cultivate all roots of goodness, they think, may the power of virtue of these roots of good reach all places, just as reality extends everywhere without exception, reaching all things, all worlds, all living beings, all lands, all phenomena, all space, all time, all that is compounded and uncompounded, all speech and sound. May these roots of goodness in the same way reach the abodes of all enlightened ones, and be as offerings to all those Buddhas, the past Buddhas whose vows are all fulfilled, the future Buddhas fully adorned, and the present Buddhas, their lands, sites of enlightenment, and congregations, filling all realms throughout the entirety of space. I aspire, by virtue of the power of faith, by virtue of great knowledge without obstruction, by virtue of dedication of all roots of goodness, to present offerings like those of the celestials, filling infinite worlds. Great enlightening beings also form this thought. The Buddhas pervade all realms in space, the worlds of all the unspeakably many world systems in the 10 directions produced by various actions. Unspeakably many Buddha lands, Buddha spheres, all kinds of worlds, infinite worlds, worlds without boundaries, rotating worlds, sideways worlds, worlds facing upward and downward. In all worlds such as these, they manifest a span of life and display various spiritual powers and demonstrations. There are enlightening beings there who by the power of resolution appear as Buddhas in all worlds for the sake of sentient beings who can be taught. With the knowledge of where all paths lead, they reveal everywhere the boundless freedom and spiritual power of the enlightened, the body of reality extending everywhere without distinction, equally entering all realms of phenomena and principles, the body of inherent Buddhahood neither born nor perishing, yet by skillful expedients appearing throughout the world, because of realizing the true nature of things, transcending all, because of attainment of non-regressing power, because of birth among the people of vast power of unobstructed vision of the enlightened. Great enlightening beings, by all the roots of goodness that they plant, vow to make offerings to all such Buddhas, with myriad beautiful flowers, myriad wonderful incenses, garlands, parasols, banners, pennants, clothing, lamps, and all other articles of adornment, and to do the same to effigies, tombs, and shrines of Buddhas. Their roots of goodness they dedicate in this way, with unconfused dedication, single-minded dedication, autonomous dedication, respectful dedication, unshakable dedication, non-obsessive dedication, independent dedication, dedication without the mentality of worldly people, dedication without haste or struggle, dedication with a tranquil mind. They also think, throughout the space of the cosmos in all ages, past, future, and present, the Buddhas, the world-honored ones, attain omniscience and become enlightened. With innumerable different names, at various times, they manifest attainment of true awakening, all abiding for a span of life, throughout the future each adorning themselves with the adornments of the realm of reality, their sites of enlightenment and congregations pervading the cosmos. In all lands they appear according to the time and perform the work of Buddhahood. To all these Buddhas I dedicate roots of goodness. I vow to offer respectfully countless canopies of fragrance, banners of fragrance, pennants of fragrance, drapes of fragrance, nets of fragrance, statues of fragrance, lights of fragrance, flames of fragrance, clouds of fragrance, thrones of fragrance, parks of fragrance, shelters of fragrance, worlds of fragrance, mountains of fragrance, seas of fragrance, rivers of fragrance, trees of fragrance, robes of fragrance, lotus blossoms of fragrance, palaces of fragrance, flowers of fragrance, infinite canopies of flowers, and so on up to infinite palaces of flowers, boundless canopies of garlands, and so on up to boundless palaces of garlands, incomparably many canopies of powdered incense, and so on up to incomparably many palaces of powdered incense, uncountable canopies of perfume, and so on up to uncountable palaces of perfume, incalculable canopies of raiment, and so on up to incalculable palaces of raiment, inconceivable numbers of canopies of jewels, and so on up to inconceivable numbers of palaces of jewels, immeasurable numbers of canopies of lamps, and so on up to immeasurable numbers of palaces of lamps, unspeakable numbers of canopies of ornaments, and so on up to unspeakable numbers of palaces of ornaments, unspeakably unspeakable numbers of canopies, banners, pennants, drapes, nets, statues, lights, flames, clouds, seats, parks, shelters, lands, mountains, seas, rivers, trees, robes, lotus blossoms, and palaces, all made of jewel crystals, all unspeakably unspeakable in number. In each of these objects are countless balustrades, palaces, bowers, doors, crescents, defensive barriers, windows, pure jewels, and ornaments. All such offerings I present to those Buddhas, aspiring to cause all worlds to become purified, and all sentient beings to attain emancipation, abide in the stage of the 10 powers, and attain unhindered understanding of truth, to cause all sentient beings to be fully endowed with bases of goodness, to gain complete self-mastery, to have minds as infinite as space, going to all fields without going anywhere, entering all lands, passing on good ways, always able to see Buddhas, planting roots of goodness, accomplishing the great vehicle, not clinging to anything, replete with virtue, establishing innumerable practices, entering into all the boundless realms of reality, developing the spiritual faculties of the Buddhas, and attaining the omniscient knowledge of the enlightened ones. Just as selflessness includes all things, so also may my roots of goodness include all the Buddhas by making offerings to them all, include all truths by understanding them without hindrance, include all enlightening beings by ultimately having the same roots of goodness, include all practices of enlightening beings by fulfillment through the power of my original vows, include all enlightening beings' understanding of things by comprehending all things without obstruction, include all the great spiritual powers of the Buddhas by perfecting innumerable roots of goodness, include all the powers and fearlessnesses of the Buddhas by developing immeasurable will and fulfilling them all, include all the enlightening beings' methods of meditation, powers of elucidation, and concentration formulae by being able to illumine and comprehend non-duality. Include the Buddha's skill and means by manifesting the great spiritual powers of the enlightened. Include all the past, present, and future Buddha's birth in the world, attainment of enlightenment, turning the wheel of true teaching, taming sentient beings, and entering final decease by respectfully presenting offerings to all of them everywhere. Include all worlds of the 10 directions by adorning and purifying Buddha lands to the ultimate degree. Include all ages by appearing therein and cultivating the enlightening practice unceasingly. Include all realms of being by appearing to be born therein. Include all realms of sentient beings by fulfilling the practice of the universally good enlightening being. Include all delusive habit energy by using appropriate means to clean it all away. Include the innumerable differences and faculties of sentient beings by knowing them all. Include the understandings and inclinations of all sentient beings by causing them to get rid of confusion and defilement and attain purity. Include all activities that edify sentient beings by appearing in forms appropriate to their needs. Include all ways of adaptively responding to sentient beings by entering into all realms of sentient beings. and include the essence of knowledge of all enlightened ones by preserving the teachings of the Buddhas. When great enlightening beings dedicate roots of goodness in this way, they use the absence of object of attainment as a means. They do not distinguish consequences in actions. They do not distinguish actions in consequences. Though they have no discrimination, they enter all realms of phenomena and principles. Though they have no striving, yet they always abide in roots of goodness. Though they initiate nothing, yet they diligently practice excellent principles. They do not believe in things, yet can enter deeply into them. They do not consider things as existent, yet they know and see them all. Creation and non-creation are both ungraspable. They know that by nature all things are never independent. Though they see all things, yet they are not seeing anything. They know everything without knowing anything. Thus do enlightening beings comprehend the objective world, knowing that all things are based on causes and conditions. They see the reality body of all Buddhas and arrive at the untainted ultimate reality of all things. They understand all worlds are like magical apparitions. They clearly realize that sentient beings are only one phenomenon and do not have two natures. They do not give up the realm of action. With skill and expedient means they show the uncreated in the midst of the realm of compounded things, without destroying the characteristics of compounded things. They show compounded things in the midst of the realm of the uncompounded, without distinguishing marks of the uncompounded. Thus enlightening beings always observe all things as ultimately null and void. They develop all pure roots of goodness and arouse the will to save and protect sentient beings. Their knowledge clearly realizes the ocean of all truths. They always gladly cultivate practice to get rid of ignorance and folly. They have already fully accomplished transmundane virtues, and they no longer practice worldly ways. They have attained the pure eye of knowledge, stripped of the blinders of ignorance, and with skill and means they practice the path of dedication. Great enlightening beings, dedicating roots of goodness in this way, accord with the will of all the Buddhas, beautify and purify all Buddha lands, teach, edify, and mature all sentient beings, fully accept and maintain all principles of the Buddhas, become supreme fields of blessings for all sentient beings, become wise guides for all caravans, become pure suns for all worlds. Each of their roots of goodness fills the cosmos, able to rescue and safeguard all sentient beings and cause them to be filled with pure virtuous qualities. When the great enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, they are able to preserve the lineage of all Buddhas, to develop all sentient beings to maturity, to beautify and purify all lands, to avoid spoiling all works, to thoroughly understand all things, to impartially observe the non-duality of all things, to go to all lands in the 10 directions, to comprehend the ultimate reality apart from desire, to achieve pure faith, and to have clear, sharp faculties. This is great enlightening beings' fourth dedication, dedication reaching all places. When great enlightening beings abide in this dedication, they achieve physical action reaching all places, being able to appear responsively in all worlds. They achieve verbal action reaching all places, expounding the truth in all places. They achieve mental action reaching all places, accepting and holding the truth explained by all Buddhas. They attain the power of psychic travel reaching everywhere, going in response to beings' minds. They attain recollective and explanatory powers reaching all places, able to please beings according to their mentalities. They gain entry into the realm of reality reaching all places, able to enter all worlds in a single pour. They attain entry into bodies reaching all places, able to enter the bodies of all beings in the body of one being. They attain universal perception of the ages reaching all places, in each age always seeing all the Buddhas. They attain instantaneous universal perception reaching all places, moment to moment seeing all the Buddhas appear before them. When great enlightening beings attain dedication reaching all places, they are able to dedicate roots of goodness in this way. Then the enlightening being Diamond Banner, empowered by the Buddhas, looked over the 10 directions and said, "To all internal and external worlds, enlightening beings have no attachments at all, yet do not abandon works beneficial to sentient beings. The great ones cultivate this kind of knowledge. In all lands in the 10 directions, they do not depend or dwell on anything. They do not grasp things such as livelihood, and do not arbitrarily create distinctions. They deal with all sentient beings in all worlds in the 10 directions. Observing their essential nature has no existence, they practice dedication reaching everywhere. Dealing with all compounded and uncompounded things, they do not entertain errant thoughts about them, or in regard to anything in the world. The lamps that illumine the world are aware in this way. The works carried out by enlightening beings are different in superior, middling, and lower grades. In all of them they dedicate roots of goodness to all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. Enlightening beings by dedication reach transcendence, accomplishing what they learn from the Buddhas. They always think well based on subtle knowledge, and embody the best of human qualities. Their pure roots of goodness they universally dedicate to help the deluded, never abandoning them. They enable all sentient beings to become unexcelled lamps that illumine the world. They never conceptualize sentient beings, nor think of things with false imagination. Though in the world they have no attachments, yet also do not abandon conscious creatures. Enlightening beings always enjoy tranquil nullity, by following which they attain the realm of nirvana. Yet they do not abandon the realm of sentient beings. They have attained such subtle knowledge. Enlightening beings do not conceptualize actions and do not grasp their results. All worlds are born from conditions. Things cannot be seen apart from causality. Deeply entering such realms, they do not create vain discriminations therein. The tamers of all sentient beings herein understand skilled dedication. What is great enlightening beings' dedication of inexhaustible treasuries of virtue? Here they dedicate the roots of goodness produced by repentance and removal of hindrances caused by past actions, the roots of goodness produced by paying respect to all Buddhas, the roots of goodness produced by requesting all Buddhas to teach, the roots of goodness produced by listening to Buddha's teaching, diligently practicing it, and realizing the vast realm of the inconceivable. The roots of goodness produced by rejoicing at the virtues of all Buddhas and all sentient beings of the past, future, and present. The roots of goodness of all Buddhas. The roots of goodness achieved by the diligent practice of infinite enlightening beings. The roots of goodness produced by enlightening beings knowing of and rejoicing in the Buddhas of all times attaining true enlightenment, teaching the truth, and taming sentient beings. The roots of goodness in rejoicing at the Buddhas of all times cultivating enlightening practice from their first inspiration, attaining supreme true awakening, finally appearing to enter ultimate extinction, and after their extinction, the true teaching remaining in the world until passing away. Thus, enlightening beings think of the inexplicable realm of the Buddhas as well as their own realm and the unhindered realm of enlightenment. Such tremendous, innumerable different roots of goodness, all they accumulate, all they believe in, all they rejoice in, all they fulfill, all they accomplish, all they practice, all they attain, all they are aware of, all they embody, all they develop, they dedicate to adorn all the Buddha lands, like the realm of action of all the Buddhas in all worlds and boundless eons of the past. That is, incalculable, innumerable systems of Buddha worlds, known to the knowledge of Buddhas, perceived by enlightening beings, sensed by the great mind, issuing from and drawn forth by pure actions adorning Buddha fields, arising in response to sentient beings, created by the sublime practices of the enlightening being universally good, in which all the Buddhas become enlightened and manifest various autonomous spiritual powers. And like the purely adorned Buddha lands which will be attained upon enlightenment by the Buddhas throughout the future, that is, incalculable innumerable systems of Buddha worlds, known to the knowledge of Buddhas, perceived by enlightening beings, sensed by the great mind, issuing from and drawn forth by pure actions adorning Buddha fields, arising in response to sentient beings, created by the sublime practices of the enlightening being universally good, in which all the Buddhas become enlightened and manifest various autonomous spiritual powers. And like the purely adorned Buddha lands which will be attained upon enlightenment by the Buddhas throughout the future, pervading the cosmos, boundless, borderless, endless, infinite, all born of the knowledge of the Buddhas, adorned by innumerable beautiful treasures, ornaments of all fragrances, all flowers, all raiment, all treasuries of worthy qualities, all powers of Buddhas, and the embellishments of all Buddha lands. The capitals of the enlightened ones, inhabited by inconceivable pure communities of people with existing affinity through similar practices who will attain true enlightenment in the future, developed by all the Buddhas, imperceptible to the world, visible only to the pure eyes of enlightening beings. These enlightening beings have great powers and have planted roots of goodness in the past. Knowing all things are like phantoms and illusions, they cultivate the pure deeds of enlightening beings, entering absorption in inconceivable freedom, and with skill and means can perform the work of Buddhas, emanate the light of Buddhas, and illumine the world everywhere without limit. All the Buddhas of the present also adorn worlds in this way, with boundless forms, lights, and colors, all made by virtues. Innumerable fragrances, innumerable jewels, innumerable trees, innumerable ornaments, innumerable palaces, innumerable sounds, associates in accord with affinities from the past, manifesting adornments of all worthy qualities without end, adornments of all fragrances, garlands, powdered incenses, jewels, pennants, multicolored streamers of precious silk, balustrades of jewels, countless ornaments of gold nets, rivers, clouds and rain, and music, innumerable such embellishments adorning the Buddha lands in all worlds throughout space, created by various deeds known to the Buddhas and told of by the Buddhas. That is, Buddha lands of adornments, Buddha lands of purity, Buddha lands of equanimity, Buddha lands of subtle refinements, Buddha lands of magnificent virtue, Buddha lands of immensity, Buddha lands of peace and bliss, Buddha lands of indestructibility, Buddha lands of inexhaustibility, Buddha lands of infinity, Buddha lands of imperturbability, Buddha lands of fearlessness, Buddha lands of light, Buddha lands free from opposition, Buddha lands of delight, Buddha lands of all illumining brightness, Buddha lands of splendor, Buddha lands of refined beauty, Buddha lands of wonderful skill, preeminent, excellent, extraordinary, supreme, absolutely supreme, surpassing, unexcelled, peerless, incomparable, indescribable Buddha lands. To emulate these adornments of all the Buddha lands of past, future, and present, the great enlightening beings willingly dedicate their own roots of goodness to adorn a world in the same way, with the pure adornments of the lands of all Buddhas of past, future, and present, to produce, purify, gather, manifest, array, and maintain all adornments like those of the lands of all Buddhas, and to do the same for all worlds throughout the space of the cosmos, that they be replete with the various adornments of the lands of the Buddhas of all times. Great enlightening beings also dedicate roots of goodness in this way. May all the Buddha lands I cultivate be filled with great enlightening beings who are truly genuine, with comprehensive knowledge, able to distinguish all worlds and sentient beings, to enter deeply into the realm of reality as well as the realm of space, who cast off folly and perfect the recollection of the Buddhas, recollection of the truth of the teaching, recollection of the infinity of the community, omnipresent everywhere, and who also remember equanimity, their sun of truth full and round, their light of knowledge illumining everywhere, seeing without obstruction, born from non-acquisition, producing all aspects of Buddhahood, possessed of myriad supreme roots of goodness, engendering the determination of unexcelled enlightenment, abiding in the powers of Buddhas, heading for omniscience, destroying the works of demons, purifying the realm of sentient beings, entering deeply into the essential nature of things, forever getting rid of delusion, bringing all roots of goodness and great vows to fruition. May such enlightening beings fill those lands, born in such places, having such virtues, always performing the work of Buddhahood, attaining the pure light of complete enlightenment, possessed of knowledge of the realm of reality, manifesting the power of spiritual faculties, filling all realms with one body, attaining great knowledge and wisdom, entering the sphere of omniscience, able to distinguish infinite, boundless expressions and meanings of realms of phenomena and principles, having no attachments in any land, yet able to appear in all Buddha lands, their minds like space, not relying on anything, yet able to distinguish all realms of phenomena and principles, able to enter and emerge from inconceivable profound concentrations, intent on omniscience, dwelling in the Buddha fields, attaining the power of Buddhahood, expounding countless truths without fear, conforming to the roots of goodness of Buddhas of all times, totally illumining the cosmos of truth of all enlightened ones, able to accept and hold all Buddha's teachings, knowing countless ways of speaking, able to enunciate inconceivably many different sounds, entering the unsurpassed stage of freedom of the Buddhas, traveling throughout all worlds in the 10 directions without hindrance, practicing non-contention and non-reliance, not falsely discriminating anything, cultivating, practicing, and enlarging the determination for enlightenment, attaining knowledge of skill and means, of expression and meanings, able to explain and expound them step by step. I vow to cause such enlightening beings to adorn those lands, distributed throughout, living in peace and accord, well cultivated, extremely well cultivated, pure, extremely pure, calm and serene. May there be, in each and every region of one Buddha land, infinitely many such great enlightening beings filling it, and may all Buddha lands throughout space, throughout the cosmos, all be filled with great enlightening beings in the same way. Great enlightening beings expediently dedicate all roots of goodness to all Buddha lands, to all enlightening beings, to all Buddhas, to the enlightenment of all Buddhas, to all great vows, to all essential ways of emancipation, to purifying all realms of sentient beings, to always seeing the Buddhas appear in all worlds, to always seeing the life of the enlightened ones as infinite, and to always seeing the Buddhas pervading the cosmos, turning the unimpeded, non-regressing wheel of teaching. When great enlightening beings dedicate roots of goodness in this way, because they enter all Buddha lands are purified. Because they reach all realms of sentient beings, all enlightening beings are purified. Because they will the appearance of Buddhas in all Buddha lands in all universes the embodiments of the enlightened transcendentally manifest. By means of such peerless dedication, great enlightening beings proceed toward omniscience, their minds broad and vast as space, without any limitations. Entering inconceivability, they know all actions and the resulting consequences are null, so their minds are always equanimous. Having no bounds, they are able to enter all realms of reality. When great enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, they do not conceive of self or possessions, do not conceive of Buddha or Buddha teaching, do not conceive of lands or adornment, do not conceive of sentient beings or civilization, do not conceive of action or results of action. They do not cling to thought or what is produced by thought. They do not deny cause and effect. They do not grasp things. They do not grasp principles. They do not say birth and death has mentation. They do not say nirvana is eternal tranquility. They do not say the enlightened realize Buddhahood. There is not the slightest thing that coexists with reality. When great enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, they give all roots of goodness over to sentient beings, to assure their development of maturation, teaching and edifying them impartially, without mental images, without objectification, without assessment, without falsehood, avoiding all vain discrimination and conceptual clinging. Once great enlightening beings have made this dedication, they attain inexhaustible roots of goodness. That is, they attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they keep all enlightening beings in mind. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they purify the Buddha lands. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they purify all realms of sentient beings. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they delve deeply into the realm of reality. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they cultivate immeasurable minds equal to the realm of space. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they profoundly understand the realm of all Buddhas. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they diligently cultivate the work of enlightening beings. They attain inexhaustible roots of goodness because they comprehend the past, present, and future. When great enlightening beings dedicate all roots of goodness in this way, they understand that all realms of sentient beings have no sentient beings. They understand that all things have no life. They know that all things have no creator. They realize all things have no personality. They comprehend that all things have no conflict. They see that all things come from conditions and have no abode. They know all things have no basis. They know all lands have no location. They observe that enlightening beings' practices also have no locus. They see that all objects have no existence. When great enlightening beings practice such dedication, their eyes ultimately never see impure Buddha lands, nor do they see sentient beings of differing characteristics. There is not the slightest thing entered by knowledge, nor the slightest knowledge entering things. They understand the body of the enlightened is not like empty space, because it is perfected by all virtues and infinite sublime qualities, and because in all places it causes sentient beings to accumulate a sufficiency of roots of goodness. These great enlightening beings, moment to moment, attain unspeakably unspeakable numbers of stages of the 10 powers, are filled with all virtues, fully develop pure roots of goodness, and are fields of blessings for all sentient beings. These great enlightening beings develop treasuries of virtues like wish-fulfilling jewels, obtaining all comforts as needed, able to adorn all lands wherever they go, purifying untold numbers of sentient beings wherever they go, because of embracing virtue, cultivating and mastering the practices. When great enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, they cultivate the practices of all enlightening beings. Their virtues are extraordinary. Their appearance is incomparable. Their spiritual force and radiance surpass all worldlings, so that demons and demonic people cannot look upon them. Their roots of goodness are complete. Their great vows are accomplished. Their minds ever broadening, equal to the omniscient. In a single moment of attention, they can pervade innumerable Buddha lands. The power of their knowledge is immeasurable, and they have arrived at the sphere of all Buddhas. They have profound faith in all Buddhas, and abide in boundless knowledge. The power of their will for enlightenment as vast as the cosmos, as ultimate as space. When great enlightening beings abide in this dedication, they attain 10 inexhaustible treasuries. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of seeing Buddhas, because in a single pour they see countless Buddhas appearing in the world. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of entry into truth, because by the power of Buddha knowledge they see all things in one truth. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of memory, because they retain the teachings expounded by all Buddhas without forgetting any. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of certain wisdom, because they know the secret techniques and the teachings expounded by all Buddhas. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of understanding meaning and intent, because they know the distinctions of principles of the teachings. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of boundless realization, because they comprehend all things of all times by means of space-like knowledge. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of felicitous virtues, because they satisfy the wishes of all sentient beings without end. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of intrepid knowledge and awareness, because they are able to remove and destroy all sentient beings' blinders of ignorance and folly. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of definitive powers of elucidation, because they expound the impartial teaching of all Buddhas so that all sentient beings understand. They attain an inexhaustible treasury of the 10 powers and 4 fearlessnesses, because they fulfill all practices of enlightening beings, wrap their heads in the turban of non-defilement, and arrive at an unobstructed omniscience. When great enlightening beings dedicate all roots of goodness, they attain these 10 inexhaustible treasuries. Then the enlightening being Diamond Banner looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, Enlightening beings perfect profound mental power, attaining mastery of all the teachings. The blessings of their petitions and appreciation they dedicate by unimpeded means. The enlightened ones of past, present, and future beautify Buddha lands throughout the cosmos. Enlightening beings fulfilling all virtues dedicate them to purify lands the same way. The teachings of Buddhas of all times enlightening beings ponder carefully, taking them all into their minds, thereby adorning the Buddha lands. Be the virtues of all Buddha lands extolled throughout all eons of past, present, and future. The eons of all time may be exhausted, but the virtues of Buddha lands have no end. All such Buddha lands do enlightening beings see. Therewith is adorned one Buddha land, and all Buddha lands this way. There are Buddha children whose minds are pure, all born by transformation from the enlightening teaching, with all virtues adorning their minds, who fill all Buddha lands. Those enlightening beings all are endowed with bodies adorned with infinite signs of greatness. With powers of clarification their teaching fills the world, inexhaustible as the ocean. Enlightening beings sojourn in many concentrations and have fulfilled all necessary practices. Their minds are pure beyond compare, and their light illumines all worlds. Thus are all Buddha lands filled with such enlightening beings. They've never thought of the listener's vehicle or sought the individual illuminate's way. Thus are enlightening beings pure of heart, dedicating virtues to all living beings, wanting to cause all to become truly enlightened and fully know the Buddha's truths. All demons and enemies in the 10 directions the enlightening being's awesome power subdues. Their intrepid knowledge and wisdom are invincible as they practice with certainty the ultimate way. Due to enlightening beings' great willpower, their dedications cannot be hindered. They enter the inexhaustible treasury of virtue, which is forever endless throughout all time. Enlightening beings observe all conditioned things and understand their nature is not independent. Thus, knowing the nature of things is like this, they don't wrongly grasp acts or results. There are no things with form nor formless things, nor are there concepts of being or non-being. Existence and non-existence neither exist. They realize all are ungraspable. All things are born of causes and conditions. Their essential nature is neither existent nor non-existent. And in causes and conditions, what they produce, they ultimately have no attachments at all. Of what all sentient beings say, they ultimately don't grasp anything. They know names and signs are all mentation, and clearly understand things are identityless. As the nature of sentient beings is fundamentally null, so do they know all things are null. All things in past, present, and future, lands and deeds, all are equal. Such knowledge do they dedicate, virtuous action born according to their understanding. The signs of these virtues, too, they understand thus, that there's nothing to grasp therein. Thus their mind of dedication's unsullied, never calculating the nature of things, comprehending their nature is not a nature. They do not dwell in the world, yet do not leave it. The good works which they do, they dedicate to all living beings, not failing to realize their true nature, abandoning discrimination. All the false views there are, they abandon entirely. Free from inflaming afflictions, always cool, they abide in the unobstructed state of liberation. Enlightening beings do not destroy anything, or annihilate the nature of things. They understand all things are like echoes, and have no attachment to them at all. They know all sentient beings of all times come from combinations of causes and conditions. They also know their inclinations and habits, and never annihilate anything. They realize the nature of actions is not action, and yet do not contradict the characteristics of things, and they do not destroy the results of deeds, but explain the nature of things as conditional. They understand sentient beings have no birth, and there are no sentient beings to transmigrate. There are no real sentient beings to speak to, but according to conventional norms, they provisionally teach.